Hey guys, today we're going to be going over the fastest and most reliable way to duplicate a large hard drive onto a smaller one. Coming up. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you love tech tips and tricks like this, go ahead and slam on the subscribe button and tick the little bell to stay updated of all of my newest uploads. This video is technically a two-part series involving Ubuntu. I also want to interject that the length of this video is due to the tedious explanations I provide throughout. Due to the possibility of data loss, corruption, or any failure in between, I want you to know exactly what's happening step by step, even if it didn't happen in this particular video. If you guys don't have a copy of Ubuntu that you can work with, I'll put a card right there for you to check out. In this video example, I duplicated a 640GB Toshiba MK6475 GSX hard drive to a 120GB Samsung 750 EVO SSD for obvious performance gains. Also, if you're interested in upgrading your PC's HDD for a faster SSD, I'll set up a link for the Samsung 750 EVO below as well. Before you start, remember that you'll probably need a USB to SATA adapter, which I'll be linking in the description below to perform this little setup. So, once you have your copy of Ubuntu up and running, connect all of the hard drives to your PC that you're going to use if you haven't done that already. After that, open a terminal session. You can do this by opening Dash by pressing the Windows key, then typing terminal, and then pressing enter. After the terminal is open, we're going to install Gparted. If you already have Gparted on your Ubuntu setup, great! Type the following command. sudo-i. This will basically append the sudo prefix to all of your commands, placing you into the root user. Next, type apt install gparted-y. After that finishes installing, open Gparted from Dash. So here we have the two hard drives, SDB, which is the Toshiba drive, and SDA, which is the 750 EVO. For the sake of this example, I've already wiped the static drive I'm copying to. If yours is not cleaned, go ahead and back up any and all data you might want from that device prior to erasing the drive. Once that's complete, simply right-click every partition that does not say unallocated and click delete. After that, click the green check mark in the area above the disk's chart. Wait for that to finish. You can pause this video until that's complete if you need to do so. To begin, head to your drive you're wanting to create the copy of. Now we'll need to make sure that the data of the combined partitions is smaller than the total size of the new hard drive. So let's go to Google. What we're predominantly worried about is the Use column in the right-hand section. Do a Google search, adding the totals of your drive in the search bar. In this case, it's 664.71 MIB or mebibytes. Make sure to pay good attention to the capitalization here. Plus 90.4 GIB or gigabytes. Plus 14.24 GIB or gigabytes again. To display the correct unit, we're going to say all of that equals GIB or gigabytes. This is important because the drive that we're copying to has a measured size in gigabytes, so we're going to want to be smaller than that. So for the totals of everything we've added, the calculations rendered 105.289 gigabytes. That's perfect to fit onto the smaller drive. Hallelujah. If the used size is more than that of the new hard drive you'll want to be copying to, then you'll need to mount the drives in Ubuntu to delete any unnecessary files within the hard drive. I'll link that up in the description below. By this point, if you believe it's necessary, copy all of your files and folders to another drive to back them up in the event that this goes wrong. However, it very well should not. Now that we've solved for that variable from the drive you're copying, make sure that there are no entries under mount point. Partitions that are mounted mean that they are currently in use, which we don't want, and to be honest, neither does Gparted. So right-click any partitions with mount points and click Unmount. Wait until the operation finishes. Begin by resizing all of the partitions to their smallest sizes. Right-click on each partition if there's more than one and select Resize or Move. Drag the right-hand slider all the way to the left as far as it'll go before it automatically stops. Then click the funny right arrow Resize Move button. You'll then see a preview of what the hard drive will look like after the queued work has been performed. In this case, the only step left is to make sure that all the unallocated space has been moved to the right, because there are not that many blocks that can remain empty in a hard drive before it writes the next partition, right? So go ahead and right-click any partitions to the right of the unallocated space and select Resize or Move again. You're going to be taking these partitions and literally dragging them to the left so that all of the unallocated space is to the right. Then click Resize or Move. You'll be greeted with a nasty warning telling you that this may incur a failed boot. We'll make sure that doesn't happen. Click OK. Now that we have all of the unallocated space, which won't be copied, to the far right, go ahead and click the green check mark above the graphs. You'll see one last warning telling you about the possible loss of data. Once you're ready, click the Apply button. If you're sketchy about any part of the process after this, there are a few things to note about Gparted. Gparted is a very old program created in Linux, therefore it's been tried and tested a lot. This means that it has a lot of stability. Second of all, Gparted emulates data transfer all over the disk before it even touches 1 byte of data to make sure that the process will go smoothly. Third, Gparted actually understands every different type of operating system and how they work, meaning that if it's working with an NTFS or Windows partition, it will create a byte sector on the hard drive to check the drive using check disk on the next boot to ensure everything went well. This option is much more stable than performing these steps with the DD command in terminal. There have been many times where DD will perform a complete and accurate copy as slowly as it can on a drive and still show errors in Gparted. You'll get 2 sets of progress bars indicating how long the process is going to take. Once it's complete and all the sections have green check marks next to them, click the Close button. Now we have this perfectly compressed, moved hard drive. From here we're going to be quite literally copying and pasting the drive contents to the blank hard drive. So begin by selecting the first partition of your old hard drive and then right-clicking it. Select the copy option and click it. Move to your new hard drive from the Drive Select menu at the top right. Right-click anywhere underneath the unallocated space and select Paste. Continue doing this for each partition on your old hard drive, moving from the top down. Now, your new partition's preview should look exactly like the old ones. Click the green check mark again. You'll be greeted with the nasty loss of data message again, but don't worry, we're literally creating a backup copy of your hard drive right now. Click Apply. Because of the varying speeds throughout the process, you won't be notified of a time remaining, only the total progress. But of course, just be patient. Go play some video games or something while this happens, and pause the video. Once a drive is copied, make sure you don't see any exclamation marks next to any of the partitions. These are indicative of errors while copying. If these do occur, you'll need to delete the faulty partition by right-clicking them and copying the corresponding partition from the old drive and reorganizing the partitions to exactly where they should be. Next, you'll open a terminal session next to Gparted. Aligning the window similar to this may help tell which drive is which. Since I had rebooted my PC from the start of this video, my drive locations have been altered. What we're going to be doing now is the simplest part, updating the MBR or master boot record. In the terminal, type the following command, sudo-i. For you Hackintoshers out there, you might recognize this next section. Follow that command with the following. ddif equals /dev/sd and whatever the label of your old hard drive was. So if it was located in /dev/sdb, then type that after the equal sign. This sets DD to copy the contents of that drive's MBR. Add a space and then type OF equals /dev/sd and whatever the label of your new drive is. Add a space and then type BS equals 512 space count equals 1, then hit enter. This means that we're going to copy an area beginning outside of SDC 1, 2, and 3 that's 512 bytes in size to the area at the beginning and outside of SDA. That's because our partitions are the exact same size on both hard drives. If they were different, it would be 446 bytes, but enough about the technical details. Remember that 1 MB space that preceded our first copy and paste? The MBR is located in that very sector. Call it SDC 0 copying to SDA 0. Once this super quick and small command is executed, you're all done. You're ready to plug this drive in and boot from it. Here's the successful booting of the drive in Windows. I had to remove some items to be able to begin screen recording as we had little to no space left from the partition copying. This means that the sizes are going to be a little bit different than you saw early in the video because of that. So once you're able to boot successfully, if you're needing to uninstall any large or unnecessary programs that might have existed prior. Remember by this point that if you're skeptical about removing any programs, you still have your backup of the first drive that you copied from still available. Happy hard drive duplicating, guys. Thanks for checking out my video. If you'd like to stay updated with more tech tips and other related videos, be sure to click the subscribe button. Also be sure to click the notification bell to be informed of all of my latest uploads. Please leave any questions or comments below and let me know what you might like to watch me do next time. So until the next video, namaste.